Hi, my name's Phil Gardner and welcome to Fun with Boxes. Well, it's been just over 2 weeks since AireCon 2024 started in Harrogate, and it's taken that much time for me to get over it. Hang on, am I over it? I really don't think so, you know. Wow, what an incredible weekend, what an incredible event, and what an incredible experience. Okay, so I'm not over it. Nowhere close to being over it, actually. Let's see why, shall we? If you've watched my AireCon video in January this year, where I took a look at the history of AireCon and our experiences at the 3 AireCon conventions we went to in 2023, you will know that we have a long train journey and we like to ensure we are well hydrated with plenty of nutrients for that journey. Well, you get the picture. However, some of you may well be shocked or even outraged by the following picture of our journey to Harrogate 2 weeks ago. Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. Water, without the hops. Shocking, I know. But brace yourselves. Yes, H2O and a soft energy drink. What is the world coming to, you may well ask? But do not be alarmed, we did take some games with us, including every Rolling Realms promo game. Like I say, the journey is a long one, so it's good to keep yourselves entertained. And 6.5 hours later, to greet us was our dear friends and their little chap Victor, who certainly had fun with boxes that weekend. What a great kid. He kept an eye on Lisa and kept her entertained, bless him. More on how we ended up with that giant box and another giant box in our apartment a little later. And then we met up with our longtime friend Ian, who is solely responsible for us being into the board game hobby today, and in turn responsible for our lack of a bank balance. And finally, we had some welcome nourishment. Yay! Normality has been resumed. And indeed, before we knew it, there were more dear friends and even more sources of nourishment, of course. And this is part of the magic of AireCon, friends. We have met lots and lots of absolutely wonderful people through AireCon over the years. People who I'm so proud of and blessed to call friends. Just hanging out and playing some games over a few drinks is such a wonderful way to spend some quality time with simply wonderful people. When I think of AireCon, friends and friendship are one of the first things that spring to my mind. And all of this was Thursday night, and we've not even made it into the con. So Friday morning, with a slightly fuzzy head, we were finally there. AireCon Harrogate, the king of cons. Or some would say even King Kong. No? Okay. AireCon Harrogate, the finest of conventions, the board gamer's paradise. And so, let the games begin. And begin they did, and the weekend became a blur of activity and wonderful gaming memories. And here are just a few highlights. The wonderful Wind the Film, the stunning Aqua Garden, the super cool Thunder Road Vendetta with even cooler players, the beavering balancing beavers of Beaver Creek, the wonderful dragon-filled world of Wormspan, the tiny wallet button-shy games like Skulls of Sedlick, and the standout game of the con, Wonder Bowling from Itten Games, creators of Viking Seesaw, another convention hit. But Wonder Bowling's simplicity and pure outright fun factor for me stole the show. What a fantastic little game. AireCon is truly the place to play games, and that's what the con is all about. Creating tons of space for people to play the games we all love. And when I say tons of space, I really mean it. There is more space to play games here than in any other con we have been to. And there's a real friendly buzz throughout all the halls. And there's that word again, friends. And this fills my heart with joy, meeting people I only get to see at the conventions. And look, I had a gift of a penguin. What a wonderful friend. My goodness, AireCon people are the best. And it was, of course, wonderful to meet the Watch It Play crew again this year, something I always look forward to. And we made sure we had plenty of Welsh cakes and Penderyn single malt whisky for them to enjoy. The Watch It Play crew put on some great events, as always, in the rather amazing, mind-blowing, beautiful Royal Hall. Wow, what a place to run events. Just look at it, simply stunning. And more in the Royal Hall coming up soon. And just a little shout out to Rodney. Thanks so much for coming over to chat with me on Friday. This was really nice of you, and it honestly made my day. It was lovely to spend some time talking to you, and I was so sad to hear you were unwell later in the con. I hope that you were able to recover and have some good times and good memories too. Roll on next year. One of the most surreal moments for me was entering the Dodo World Championship, run by the truly delightful Cosmos Games, and compared throughout by the hilarious force of nature that is Julian from Box Meeples. There was even a giant dodo. Who said they are extinct? I don't know. To see the children and families and grown-ups playing in this tournament was an absolute joy, especially with Julian running around and commentating on every game. Fun with Boxes, of course, entered, and I'd love to tell you how well we did, but alas, I let the team down and we failed rather badly, as you can see from the results board. How embarrassing. Though it did raise a few smiles from the spectators when our egg came crashing down mere moments after we started playing. All my fault, of course. I'm sorry, Stephen. And of course, there was even more fun back at our apartment, and plenty of silly games, fun, drinks, and general shenanigans. But the highlight after con moment for us is always Saturday night, where we meet up for a giant game of Just One in the hotel lobby where some of our friends stay. This originally started out with just a handful of us a few years ago, but has grown steadily each year, to the point where we must have had over 60 people playing in total into the wee small hours. We even had people from a hen night join us in at one point, plus numerous people walking by who we dragged into playing a few rounds. This really is hilarious fun and is one of my most favourite things about coming to AireCon in Harrogate. Truly magical moments of mayhem and mischief. I'm sure you can imagine. Here's Steve being Steve. But more on Steve later. Let's go back to the Royal Hall again, this time for the amazing charity raffles that AireCon run. Here are just a few pictures of some of the prizes you can win. And you do not have a chance to win just one game from the table of games. Oh no, you get a chance to win all the games on the table. Wow, imagine that. That's just crazy. Just look at these tables and all the games on them. That, my friends, is a lot of games. And there were 8 tables in all, an absolute dragon horde of shiny, wonderful games. And the turnout for the raffle draw was nothing short of spectacular. Look at these pictures. Just look at the number of people who entered the raffle. It was quite overwhelming, all those people, and in turn all the money Mark and the AireCon crew raised for charity. Over £10,000, I believe. But it was about to become a little more overwhelming. A lot more overwhelming indeed. The very last draw for Table 8 was just taking place, and it was this number. And if I thought the Dodo World Championship was surreal, well, AireCon had truly gone all Salvador Dali on me, because that was my ticket. And then everything got really, really, really hazy and dreamlike. This is what we won. This was Table 8, and yes, we won everything on it. Or technically steps rather than the table, but you get the point. I was completely dumbstruck, and to be honest, I still am. I mean, someone has to win at a raffle, don't they? But it's never you. It's always someone else. But this time, it was me. And I must admit, it was rather all too much for me, I can tell you. Especially when I started thinking, how on earth are we going to get all this back to the apartment? Followed by the mind-melting problem of how exactly are we going to get this home on the train, bearing in mind a 7-hour journey over 5 different trains. The rest was a blur, and thank goodness for our wonderful friends who all stepped in to help. Andy and Sarah even purloined a trolley from a bemused security guard. A number of large boxes appeared out of nowhere, and before I knew it, we were back at the apartment where this happened. Again, I really still cannot believe it. We had to open up as many expansion boxes as possible and pack as many things into the same boxes to try and reduce the overall number of boxes to be able to try and get these home. You should have seen the recycling we put out. But even so, it was a hopeless task. There were still just too many boxes. And that's where Julian and Libby of Box Meeples, and yet again Andy and Sarah, stepped in and took control, bless them. They packed everything into their cars for us, and I really mean packed, and drove them back to their homes in Newcastle and Kent. Nowhere near Wales, obviously, but at least they were in transit, as it were, to eventually come to us hopefully later this year. And breaking news, I am happy to report that Andy has already delivered dice thrown to us, bless him. Fortunately, work brought him to Cardiff and we met up with him this week. And here's what we've got home with us. Yay! Thanks, Andy. What an awesome chap. And I know I've said it a ton of times now, but at AireCon you will meet the most wonderful people that really will become lifelong friends. And talking about new friends, it was great to be able to meet up with Gareth from Far Place Animal Rescue Charity. I first bumped into Gareth in the queue waiting to get on the plane on our way to Essen last year, and we've kept in touch regularly ever since. Gareth was at AireCon to show off his wonderful family game, Far Place the board game, along with his brand new small card games, Woof Days, Cat Days and Dino Days, which are absolutely wonderful little card games that are super fun to play. You could have picked these up for a mere £5 each at AireCon. What an absolute bargain. But do not fear if you're not there or missed them. All 3 games have just launched on Kickstarter, so go and check them out now. That's Woof Days, Cat Days and Dino Days. You really will not regret it. You can check out my channel for videos on how to play all 3 games. Hopefully there's a link to one on the screen right now. Plus there is a how to play video for Far Place the board game too. Next time, Gareth, we will get to have that drink together. I promise. The AireCon raffles were not the only raffle that weekend. There was also a raffle to win the Crokinole table run by our lovely friends Steve and Ellie from Maplewood and presented by the fabulous Paula Deming. Steve makes the most wonderful handmade board game tables and has just started making his own Crokinole boards. And wow, these are amazing. I played on one at the con and was instantly in love with it. I just wish we had some room in the house for one. Perhaps one day. I'm sure the lucky winner of the Crokinole board is really enjoying playing this even now as I record this video. If you are looking for a board game table or a Crokinole board, you honestly really should check out Maplewood. I know they are our friends, but you should see their tables. They are something else, and all handmade too. So why not hop online after this video and go check them out? You won't regret it. Well, after AireCon, we stayed a few more days in Harrogate. It's such a long way for us to come, we really like to make the most of it, and Harrogate is such a beautiful town. We really enjoyed walking around, taking in the sights. Just look at this old tree stump, for example. It has the Eiffel Tower carved out of it. How unexpected! We also wandered around the most wonderful bookshop, John Atkinson's Fine and Rare Books, and ended up having a great chat with the owner. What a lovely man, and what a treasure trove of wonders he had in his store. And on our travels, we of course sampled a few bars and played a few games and even met some familiar faces. But then it was time to head back home, and the journey back was not the best. This did not help at the start of the journey. And then I had to stand up all the way on one of the trains from Leeds to Bristol, and that was over 3.5 hours. Not a trip I'd like to do again. We were so glad to get back home in the end, I can tell you. But despite this, it was all more than worth it. You see, AireCon in Harrogate is a truly fabulous board game convention run by wonderful, wonderful people. Mark, you must be so proud of what you have achieved over the years and continue to achieve. Thanks very much for another brilliant, unforgettable weekend of gaming. It really does not get better than this. See you again later this year for more AireCon wonders in Telford and Manchester. Well, thanks very much for watching and listening to my ramblings about all things AireCon. Please click the old like button if you enjoyed this video, and also hit that subscribe button for me too. That would be super awesome if you did that. Please take care and bye for now.